All right, so I went to see this movie last Thursday night with a friend, and I decided to let some time pass before I started talking about it because my mind was blown. So my brain was hurting for a few days, and I honestly didn't know how to properly review this film because I never planned on doing a movie review since YouTube is kind of broken right now, and I actually had to delete a few of my old movie reviews because it would either get copyright claimed or blocked worldwide. It's stupid. Yes, I know. But I had to remove some of my old reviews, so sorry if I didn't have any kind of footage to include in this review, or if you're not seeing my actual face because it's nighttime and I don't exactly have the best lighting, I guess you could say, for nighttime vlogs or video reviews. But anyways, just to clear things up and to get this out of the way, I did love this movie. I loved it. It's probably one of my top five, yeah, top five favorite Marvel films. My other favorites being the first Avengers film, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and now Endgame. But really, Endgame and Infinity War was, I think, shot back to back, so it's like one really long movie, but they had to split it in two for obvious reasons. But no, I really enjoyed this film as a comic book fan, as a MCU fan, and then that's another thing that I want to bring up is if you are a fan of all of these MCU films, then you're going to love the hell out of this film. This film is for those fans. But if you are a fan of the way things happen in the original story in the original comics, and if you're like so like um if you're like just so focused on those comics only and don't really care for any Marvel movie, then you're not going to like this movie. You're probably going to think this movie is trash because I actually know people like that. I actually know a few people who did not like Infinity War. So if they did not like Infinity War, why would they go see Endgame, you know? But for me, I've been a long time comic book fan, not just of Marvel, but you know, DC, Image, Top Cow, and other properties, you know. And you know, I'm just really glad to be alive to see how far comic book movies have come, because geez, you know, growing up, only having like the Christopher Reeves Superman films and the Tim Burton Batman films, but going before, going way before that, we've had Adam West as Batman, um, but we didn't really have any Marvel movies until like X-Men came along, and there was Blade by oh geez, Wesley Snipes. That's right, Wesley Snipes played Blade, which I loved the second movie the most. It's my favorite Blade movie is Blade 2. And we also had Fantastic Four films, which were all not that great. Um, and of course, the Spider-Man movies by Sam Raimi, but things didn't really get serious until Kevin Feige came along and decided to, I guess, you know, start things off with the Iron Man movies. And then from there, you know, we've gotten Hulk, which was played by a different actor at the time, but I guess they still consider it to be part of the rest of the MCU. And going on with you know, Thor and Captain America: The First Avenger, and leading up to the Avengers film, which which I didn't think I was ever going to see the day we were going to get an Avengers movie, but they actually did it, and they teased Thanos at the very end, which was awesome. And I'm just very happy to see how far these movies have come, and it's just so crazy to me. To me, this is like the MCU, I would say, is what Star Wars is to like our parents, you know, the parents from our generation. this is pretty much our Star Wars, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm left speechless, completely speechless. Uh, Even though Star Wars is still going on with, sequels, spin-offs, and we'll most likely get more prequels out of it because they can't let Star Wars die because it prints money, of course. Um, I don't know if I'm totally on board to see more Marvel films after this. Possibly. Possibly. There's a high possibility if they revamp or reboot X-Men and give me my Uncanny X-Men from the 90s, which is the one I always wanted to see in live action. Um, and of course, I'm not talking about the one from the cartoon, but the comics as well, because I just love their costume designs. And I always wanted to see that in live action and never got that. So, looking forward to seeing a X-Men reboot. Looking forward to seeing possibly Deadpool working with the X-Men. That would be pretty fun to see. They're most likely going to reboot Fantastic Four. So if we get a proper Fantastic Four movie and an X-Men movie, bring back some remaining Avengers from Avengers Endgame, and have everybody team up together against the next possible threat, which the only thing I could think of is Galactus, who I thought they were going to tease at the end of Avengers Endgame, but there was no Galactus. So that's something I was really anticipating. I'm going to get the score out of the way right now before I forget. I'm going to give this film a very high 9 out of 10. All right, I only took 1 point off only because there's like maybe one or two things I wish they would have showed more of, or just maybe changed a little bit. Like, for example, The Incredible Hulk, which, they used Professor Hulk for this film, which was fun to see. And my friend turned to me and he said he was not used to seeing that Hulk, and I was like, well, yeah, well, that's a thing that actually happens in the comics. Maybe not the original Infinity War storyline, but Professor Hulk was a thing that existed in the comics, and that's one of my favorite Hulks. And man, there was one scene in particular where he had like a black tank top shirt on with like brown pants. I was like, oh yeah, it's like my favorite style of Professor Hulk. And I even have an action figure of that Hulk from the old school Toy Biz days in my old toy box that I have, which I'm gonna have to do a vlog on that on my toy box. But man, no, everyone had their moment to shine in this film and had enough screen time, which was great because it was 3 hours long. However, there were some characters that really, well, I would say got a decent amount of screen time, but wasn't in it a lot. And one of the characters is Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson. And there was actually a few fans who thought Brie Larson was going to kill Thanos in like one punch. And I was like, chill out. The movie is 3 hours long. There's no way she's going to fly in and take him out in one punch. However, they do something to Thanos in like the first 10 or 15 minutes that was totally unexpected. I was like, wait a minute, where are they going with this? And that's so great about most of these Marvel films, or at least some of these Marvel films directed by the Russo brothers, is that they are good at subverting your expectations, and that's what I like. They subvert your expectations, so when you go in, you're thinking it's going to go down one way, but it happens a different way, and you're like, holy crap, this is amazing. So no, hats off to the Russo brothers. Like, ever since I saw Captain America Winter Soldier, I was like, damn, these guys know how to direct a good movie. And they did it again with Captain America Civil War, and again with Infinity War, and finally with Avengers Endgame. And there were a few tears that may or may not have came out of my eyes. I was trying really hard not to cry. Man, yeah, I was tearing up quite a few times. I would say the scene that got tears to come out my eyes the most was the final action sequence, because they were just tears of joy. Like I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was just so happy to be seeing this on the big screen and just watching everything unfold and that Thanos battle. Oh my God. uh I mean, okay, insert spoilers here. I'm going to start talking about spoilers right now. So if you don't want to listen any further, please cut off this video, stop listening. I already gave my score, high 9 out of 10. I already told you how I felt about the film. I loved it. So if that's all you need, you can shut the video off right now. Because I'm going to start talking about spoilers right now. So, Captain America wielding the Mjolnir against Thanos. The Mjolnir and his shield. So he's doing like a shield Mjolnir combo. And I was like, oh my God, this is, that was like, to me, that, oh, I mean, there's so many great moments in the film, but to me, that was like the best moment for me. That, like, when you start using Thor's hammer against Thanos, I was like, what? This is insane. This is insanity. This is reaching chaos levels of insanity, but I was loving every minute of it. I was like, okay, I've been here for over 2 hours. Yes, we deserve this. We, as fans, deserve all of this, and it is glorious. Or was glorious. No, is glorious. That's right. I was thinking about past tense, but no, is. But yeah, Avengers Endgame, worth seeing if you are definitely an MCU fan. If you only watched a few of these films out of order, I would say maybe start by watching Infinity War if you have not seen that already, then go into Endgame. So, man, I almost said game. I wish this was a video game. That would be awesome. I know they're coming out with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Nintendo Switch. I unfortunately do not have a Nintendo Switch. I don't know if I will ever buy one because PlayStation 5 is around the corner, but after seeing this movie, I do want to buy Ultimate Alliance 3 because you actually get to go up against Thanos in that game and the Black Order, and that looks like a lot of fun. But anyways, oh, my opinions on Thor. If you're wondering about my opinions on Thor, well, I understood right away they were doing that for comic relief, and as the movie went on, it really did not bother me that much. I could see how it would bother hardcore Thor fans or maybe Marvel fans of the comics. It didn't trigger me at all. I'll just say that. I know how I can get during some comic book movies where they make changes to a character or they just turn the character into a complete joke. And usually I'll get angry about something like that. I thought, there's a nice, well balanced directing here and writing for Thor that I wasn't really bugged out by his new appearance, his new chubby appearance. And yeah, Thor was great, especially during that final battle where he's trying to chop Thanos' head off again, which he did do in like the first 10 minutes of the film, which I didn't really expect it. I mean, all this time I was thinking, is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? And he just straight up did it out of nowhere. I was like, oh, man. That was satisfying. But also the other twist when Thanos, or when they found out that Thanos destroyed the Infinity Stone is like, what? Oh, no. Oh, no. Then the screen fades to black, and then you see 5 years later, and then everyone went through changes. Thor got fat. Bruce Banner was able to combine his, I guess, his brains and his bronze and make them into two and create Professor Hulk, which was nice. Tony Stark has a daughter. That was completely unexpected. because that one scene where he's going out in like the woods by that tent and he has a plate of food, I was like, does he have a pet dog or something? And no, it was a daughter of his. I was like, oh, okay, Tony Stark has a daughter. Wow. Uh, Pepper Potts as rescue or in the rescue armor during the final battle. I thought that was great. And geez, I mean, I could go on forever, guys. This video or vlog rather, this could go on for at least over an hour or two, talking about all the craziness in this film. But yeah, I love the whole time travel plot of the story and how they went back to 2012 and was running into their older versions back from 2012 and they were screwing up the entire plan. I thought it was hilarious and it was entertaining. Um, I loved how they inserted that entire twist with Nebula, how her past self was able to project memories from the future or from her future self, and that's how Thanos was able to figure things out and come to the future and just take all of the Infinity Gems just right there for the taking. And or well, he had trouble at first taking them because they were all in like a special gauntlet that Tony Stark made, and Thanos was trying to get a hold of that while everyone is trying to keep it away from Thanos. Man, what else did I love about the film? Jeez, there's so much. But everything about the time travel element, where everyone is going to different points of time trying to get the Infinity Stones. That one part was sad when Hawkeye and Black Widow was kind of like fighting each other to see who gets to die for the Soul Stone. I thought that was pretty sad. Um, man. So this movie, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just, I don't want to say masterfully handled, but it was very well handled by the Russo brothers, especially that final act. Ooh, that final act, man. Like I'm ready to buy some more Avengers merchandise. That's all I could say. Like I thought I bought enough merchandise by buying some of the action figures, and I bought the quantum suit zip up hoodie, which I did wear to the premiere, and a few people looked at me backwards because I was the only person wearing an Avengers Endgame hoodie. But I didn't care because I was representing I was a fan. But man, that final act when everyone came back from the snap because Hulk, it was Professor Hulk, or should I call him Banner? Well, anyways, Hulk was the one who put on the gauntlet that Tony Stark made and was able to use the gems that way and snap everyone back into existence. Well, at least everyone who got snapped away. I thought they were going to try to bring back as much people as possible. Like, I thought they were going to try to bring back Loki, Quicksilver, Vision. I would have loved to see those three during the final battle, but no. It was only the people who suffered the snap of Thanos from Infinity War. But yeah, when everyone came back, and I was really pleased to see the Black Order back in there, so you get to see them do some more stuff, even though, I don't know, they were kind of easily defeated, but it was still nice to see them again. And, geez, that final battle with Thanos was insane. Was insane and unexpected. Oh, jeez. And when Captain Marvel finally showed up again to take down Thanos' ship, and then she was trying to stop Thanos from using the gauntlet, and he tried to headbutt her. It didn't work. I was like, oh man, is she going to defeat Thanos? That's going to make a lot of people angry. But no, Thanos popped out one of the gems, used it against her, and just when you think he's about to use the gauntlet and snap his fingers once more, he gets tackled by Tony Stark, and that kind of confused me. My friend was saying he swiped the gems, but what I seen was like the gems kind of like floating around or like towards his hand. Well, his hand with the Iron Man armor, of course, on his hand, and he snapped his fingers, and all the entire army of Thanos was vanishing before Thanos' eyes, and Thanos didn't really I was hoping Thanos would give some like lines of dialogue there, but no, it's just like he just looked around and he just knew. He just knew he was defeated, and I think he like just sat down and just like put his head down a little bit and he just vanished. And of course, the finger snap ended up killing Tony Stark, which was sad. I did not know that was going to happen. I did not see that coming. I mean, they kind of explained it in the movie. If you snap your fingers by using all of the Infinity Gems, it's going to take a heavy toll on your body because in like the first 10, 15 minutes of the film, I believe Thanos used the gems a second time. And that was the moment where he used them to destroy the gems. So Thanos was actually, I think, able to use the finger snap twice, or however he destroyed those gems. I think he must have snapped them out of existence. So yeah, and he was all messed up. And when Thor tried to use them, it messed his arm up, even though he was somehow able to join in the final battle. Because there's this one scene on the battlefield where Giant Man, aka Ant-Man, he like he lowers his arm and opens up his hands, and out jumps Hulk and I think War Machine and Nebula and Rocket Raccoon. And you also see Hulk charging towards Thanos' army, but you don't really get to see Hulk do much, which is kind of a disappointment. But yeah, it messed up him, it messed up Thanos. So when Tony Stark used it, and he's only human, but hey, he used the gems and it extracted a heavy toll on his body and he ended up dying, and it was pretty sad because I was not expecting to see that. I thought he was going to live. You know, I thought they were going to do the typical Marvel thing and him or someone else was going to crack a joke and he's going to be fine, but no, he really died this time. And it's funny because Tony Stark had a lot of close death. He had a lot of close encounter with death in a lot of these Marvel films. If you watched all of them, you know what I'm talking about. And like in this time, he like really died. And after that, man, they had a proper funeral for Tony Stark. Well, I would have loved to see more, either more characters or at least more people in there during the funeral, because I think they showed pretty much all of the heroes and all of the characters that were involved from the previous Marvel films, including Nick Fury and I forgot her name, Jane. Yeah, Jane. Thor's old girlfriend or current girlfriend. I think it might be his ex-girlfriend, but yeah. So like, I would have loved to see that scene filled out with a lot more people. But no, I thought it was handled fine. And after that whole funeral scene, Captain America was on a mission to go back in time and put back the gems where they belong, which I think will lead up to Thanos just trying to find them again. If they're gonna, well, if you go by Thanos in the past, I don't know. That was a bit confusing. Unless Tony Stark decided to snap not only Thanos from the past away, but he decided to snap past, present, and future Thanos. Pretty much Thanos from all time, I guess, all time realms or dimensions or whatever out of existence for good. But anyways, Captain America had to put back all of the gems in their proper timelines, and along with Mjolnir, the hammer, because he was able to wield it. And that was taken from another timeline. That was taken from the Thor: The Dark World timeline. So yeah, he had to put that back, and he didn't come back when he was scheduled to. Like, he didn't come back right away. Instead, I think Falcon and Bucky looked over at this bench, and they seen this old man sitting there, and it was Captain America. He decided to stay in his own timeline so he could actually uh, live a fulfilling life with Peggy Carter, and I thought that was sweet and touching because it was like, man, like he really cared about that woman more than anything, and I thought that was sweet. And he decided to pass on the shield to Falcon, which I thought the shield should have been passed on to Bucky because in the comics, Bucky does take up the mantle for Captain America. But for the MCU, I can understand why he decided to give it to Falcon and not Bucky, because he probably would have felt guilty about that since uh, of the events of what happened in Civil War. Because in Civil War, Bucky, or it was revealed that Bucky killed Tony Stark's parents. So maybe that's why Captain America didn't want to pass on the shield to him, because he was like, man, he gave his life so everyone could live, and it would just feel really crappy of him to give it to a person that killed Tony Stark's parents. So I could understand why it was passed on to Falcon. Even though, yes, I understand in the comics, Bucky becomes the new Captain America. And at one point, Falcon does become the Captain America as well. But I thought it was handled fine. You know, I was not triggered by that scene or anything. I was like, okay, he's passing it on because he's old. And, man, who knows? He could possibly, I don't know, unless they mess with the whole quantum realm, with the whole time travel thing again, they could actually, you know, maybe bring people back. But I don't think they're going to do that. um, but man, wow. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that happened after that scene? I know there was like the last scene where it showed Captain America back in his timeline, and he's, you know, young again, dancing with Peggy Carter, and it was just very sweet. And man, so yeah, there's no after or post credit scenes for Avengers Endgame. Um, Everyone in the theater was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I was hoping for at least a little tease of Galactus, but no Galactus. I would assume they might be saving that for future Marvel films when they finally introduce Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock, X-Men, Fantastic Four, possibly more Marvel heroes. But after this movie, since this seems like the end, the very end, I don't really know. Well, let me reiterate that. After setting the bar this high, I don't know how they can set the bar this high again, or even surpass the bar. Because after this, I'm thinking everything else could only go downhill after this. Yeah, not in a bad way. Obviously, I think other Marvel films that might come after this film will still be entertaining. It's just the bar has been raised for me. You know, after this, I'm like, well, I don't really care about any other comic book movie because this Marvel film has set the bar this high, and I have not enjoyed a comic book movie to this extent since, man, I would say since The Dark Knight and Infinity War. Like both of those, Dark Knight and Infinity War, really set the bar high for me. And the first Avengers film, and I would say maybe even Winter Soldier, but I would say like films that really, really went above and beyond The Dark Knight and Infinity War, but now Endgame. I'm gonna have to put Endgame on that list. And now I just don't really care about any other Marvel film, any other DC film. I think I'm just burnt out, or I'm just like over it and like, man, this is it. Like I don't know how any other film could set the bar this high again. Yeah, I loved Endgame. Definitely check it out if you love these MCU films, or if you love both. If you're a fan of both the MCU films and the comics, not one or the other. You have to be a fan of both. Definitely check out Endgame, because if you're a fan of the comics, just understand the MCU is sort of like its own thing. they're gonna do things differently from the comics and not exactly like the comics because after the events of Infinity War, I was hoping I was hoping they would bring in Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock, and man, we're gonna see things just like the comics. And no, understand, it's gonna be handled extremely differently. All right, so thanks for listening. I'm gonna go cook some mac and cheese and stop recording because I went on for too long. All right, have a nice day, have a nice weekend, and stay awesome, Marvel fans or comic book fans out there. And I'm totally ready for some more merchandise. I'm not done buying merchandise. I'm going to buy as much Avengers Endgame merchandise as I possibly can. All right, later.